Good evening, welcome to a very special program. Campaigning is now ended for the second phase of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. Voting takes place tomorrow for 88 seats in India across 12 states and union territories, along with the remaining part of the outer Manipur Lok Sabha constituency.
That's right. This phase has seen some high decibel campaigning, promises and guarantees by various political parties, some political controversies as well. The BJP is hit out at the opposition over corruption, dynasty politics and insulting Hinduism.
While the opposition has attacked the government over electoral bonds, the misuse of agencies, inflation and unemployment.
So some of the big faces in this phase, Rahul Gandhi from Wayanad, Shashi Tharoor and Rajiv Chandrasekhar facing off in Thiruvananthapuram. You have Hema Malini hoping for a hat-trick from Mathura, and Ram from the TV serial Ramayan, Arun Govil. Govil is also in the fray. He is contesting from Meerut on a BJP ticket. Do remember results on June 4th.
Well, first up, let's just give you an idea of the spread across the country where the elections are taking place across all of these states. Let's bring up that map graphic giving you an idea of where it's taking place. Phase 2, 88 seats in 13 states, 20 in Kerala. Let's keep changing these one by one automatically. Karnataka 14, Rajasthan 13, Maharashtra 8, UP 8, Madhya Pradesh 6, Assam 5, Bihar 5, Chhattisgarh 3, Bengal 3, Manipur 1, Tripura 1, Jammu and Kashmir 1, and that's the full breakup of the states where all the elections are taking place. The voting is taking place today, is taking place tomorrow. The polling has ended today. Phase 2, 88 seats in 13 states.
All right, so we're going to go across to all our reporters to talk about the polls tomorrow and also some of the key contests there. So we're joined by Saurabh from Belur Ghat, one of those key contests there with the BJP president of Bengal contesting from there. Manish joins us from Bhagalpur, Radhika from Mumbai, Vedanta on the UP contest. He joins us from next door in Noida. Nazir from Jammu, also Pratibha joining in from Bengaluru, and Harsha from Jodhpur, which is also seeing a key contest with Union Minister up for a third time. But Pratibha, let's start with you and 14 seats in Karnataka going into the fray tomorrow, and the BJP very keen to repeat 2019. All right, and we'll just go across to Pratibha in a moment. Then let's go across to Harsha now, where and Harsha, tomorrow the rest of the seats in Rajasthan will see the polls taking place. And as you said, some key contests are there. Also in the last phase, what has been a concern is the voter turnout, not as good as the BJP would have liked. So some concern on that front.
Yes, absolutely. I'm here in Jodhpur. It's known as the Blue City. And, I've been talking to people and they're saying actually this time the BJP is having to fight on the ground for their seats, because last time, it was quite a cakewalk for them. The voter turnout has been a concern, and that's what's alerted all the candidates going into the next phase. So they've been kind of doubling up, working harder. I've been told Gajendra Singh Shekhawat is barely sleeping. He sleeps for 1 or 2 hours. I'm here in Jodhpur. Of course, I'm going to meet him a little later tonight and then, catch up with him tomorrow as he goes in to vote. So they're barely sleeping. They're just hitting the campaign trail. They're trying to manage the, various caste combinations. Because remember, we talked last time around that local factors have become predominant. But yes, the polling will actually end in Rajasthan with the second phase. So the polling in Rajasthan will complete. All 25 seats will end tomorrow. And, then I can take a bit of a break, Gargi. But the key contests are Gajendra Singh Shekhawat in Jodhpur. There's going to be Vasundhara Raje's prestige and Ashok Gehlot's prestige also at stake. Remember, both their sons are fighting this election. Dushyant going for a 5th term in Jhalawar Bara. And Vaibhav Gehlot, who's chosen to shift from Jodhpur. Last time he was fighting here in Jodhpur, he's gone to the neighbouring district of Jalore. That's a key contest. The tribal vote in Baswara is very, very interesting. We've travelled there. We've spoken to voters there. It's very interesting. The Congress candidate has crossed over to the BJP. The BJP has this Congress crossover, Mahendrajit Singh Malviya. you have a tribal party with a new identity, a party to watch out for. Rajkumar Roth, who's fighting there, and the Congress is in an alliance with them, but that alliance is itself in an extreme, it's in a quandary. The Congress candidate has not withdrawn actually. So in some senses, the Congress candidate is still in the fray. His, the symbol is going to show up on the EVM, though actually Congress is not fighting that election. So I think that's a very funny situation. It's probably the first time something like that has happened in an election.
Fascinating, absolutely, Harsha. And a lovely backdrop as well. I'm going to go across to Noida, where my colleague Vedant is standing in front of a massive Noida sign. Vedant, Noida, a key part of the National Capital Region, but over the decades it's really grown. It's become a huge city. In many senses, Noida is from UP to Delhi what Gurgaon is from Haryana to Delhi. But what are the political sensibilities here? Do people think along lines of what other NCR voters might be concerned about, whether it's infrastructure or perhaps air pollution or some of those issues? Or is this an area where the sharp politics of political alignments and alliances, which is such an important part of what's happening in Western UP, is that what is likely to be in the minds of voters?
That's a very interesting question, Vishnu. And here, if I speak about Noida in particular, remember, as we traveled through Western Uttar Pradesh, there are some sort of similar patterns, disillusionment of the Thakurs. Of course, that is a key point here. And of course, the BSP looking for a consolidation of the Muslim and SC vote. So those factors at play here in Noida. But remember, as you mentioned, infrastructure and the infrastructural development of Noida is, in a sense, a defining image of changing Uttar Pradesh. But as we spoke to voters here, the key issue this time is their campaign around no registry, no vote. Because remember, this is a real estate capital of India, so to speak. And there's a lot of disillusionment among home buyers because many of them have not gotten their rights as owners. Many of them, disillusioned by how, these high-rise buildings in Noida are maintained or the sort of the lack of maintenance thereof. So, of course, these are some of the key issues of home buyers here. In fact, there was a huge campaign by over 2 lakh home buyers called No Registry, No Vote. So, they have announced a poll boycott here. And very quickly, looking at Western UP seats, remember, 8 seats going to polls, all of them extremely crucial. Aligarh, Amroha, Meerut, Mathura, of course, where Hema Malini is looking for a 3rd term. And the key factor, the key caste arithmetic here is, of course, a disillusionment of the Thakurs. How that plays out, of course, the alliance with the RLD, how that plays out on the ground, that will be crucial to watch out for. In Noida, it's going to be a direct fight between the joint SP Congress candidate and the BJP candidate Mahesh Sharma, BJP strongman who's eyeing a 3rd term, former minister also, he's eyeing a 3rd term from Noida. And in the past couple of days, we've seen how the campaign has gotten sort of polarized on sharp lines as well. And it was in fact in Aligarh that the Prime Minister made that rather divisive remark. So it remains to be seen how all of that plays out. But of course, Noida will be interesting to watch out for, of course, because it's less than 30 kilometers from the seat of power. So a lot of interesting political dynamics at play here. The RWAs,
Absolutely.
or the Resident Welfare Associations, they have strong political alignments as well. So all of that interesting to watch out for.
In fact, as you've been reporting, Vedant, it's a doctor versus doctor. You have Mahendra Nagar, who's a doctor, a pediatrician from the SP, and of course Mahesh Sharma, a 2-time MP, who's also a doctor from the BJP. But let's go across now to Nazir, and Jammu votes tomorrow, Nazir. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. And here you have a 2-time MP as well, though the Congress is also seeming reasonably confident, the PDP, NC both supporting the Congress candidate.
Yeah, exactly, and it has been Jammu has been traditionally a stronghold of the BJP, and BJP is hoping to win this seat for the 3rd time. Its MP, 2-time MP Jugal Kishore is hopeful, confident that he will win this again. But Congress has made this election as about the local issue post-abrogation of Article 370. There are issues related to change in the land laws which has affected common man. For example, the state land, where the user rights and the rights over that has been taken away because of the change in the laws. There are issues about opening more liquor shops in Jammu. And Congress is saying the city of temples have been turned into the city of liquor shops. But the BJP has clearly made it an issue, the larger nationalist narrative. Brian Modi is the biggest asset with the BJP, here in Jammu and Kashmir. and they are confident that they will win this seat again. And there's also the larger complexion of the Jammu parliamentary constituency has also been changed after delimitation in Jammu and Kashmir. Muslim regions of Poonch and Rajouri have been now made part of the Anantnag parliamentary constituency. So it is predominantly an urban seat and also a predominantly Hindu parliament seat. So BJP is confident that it will win, but the Congress has also led a very, very effective campaign. It is working president for Jammu and Kashmir, Raman Balla, is contesting for here. He is hoping to unseat Jugal Kishore. But this would be a very, very interesting election. Number one, this is a very high turnout area where large number of people, last time there were 72% voting, and they are hoping, all the parties are hoping that the voter turnout is going to increase in this election. There are near 18 lakh voters. This constituency is spread over 3 districts. There are 18 assembly constituencies. Very, very interesting election here in Jammu and Kashmir. This is the second phase. Jammu and Kashmir has 5 parliamentary constituencies, and it will go to polls in 5 phases. And also there's a Ladakh constituency where BJP has won last time, but this time also there are problems. But here in Jammu, people have it. The area is bracing for the polls, and it is expected to be a very high turnout tomorrow.
All right, let's go quickly across to Ratnadeep. What are some of the key constituencies going to the polls tomorrow? And the BJP must be hoping for there to be a northeastern block of votes. They've done very well over here in the past. But is the northeast, or does the northeast necessarily think as a large political bloc?
That's right. In fact, if you look at Northeast, there are 25 Lok Sabha seats in Northeast, and last time BJP and its allies had won 18, and this time their target is as much as 22 seats. And therefore, in this phase where there are 7 seats in Northeast which are going to polls, out of those 7 seats, BJP and allies actually hold 6 seats, and only 1 seat is with Congress. So therefore, they would not only like to hold on to those seats, but win the only seat which is with Congress, which is Nagaon, a very prestigious seat, once a BJP stronghold. In 2019, Congress heavyweight former Assam minister Pradyut Bardoloi had won that seat for Congress, but this time after delimitation in Assam, the boundaries of all these constituencies have changed, and so has the demography. In fact, out of the 5 seats in Assam which are going to poll, apart from the tribal reserve Diffu seat, all the other 4 seats you have a very huge sizable number of Muslim voters, and this time in the campaign BJP had tried to reach out to the Muslim voters, and there have been a huge gathering of Muslim voters, in particularly rallies of Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma. BJP's narrative has been largely around the beneficiary politics, so one has to wait and watch whether the Muslim vote bank of the Congress and the AIUDF starts shifting towards BJP or not, because that will be a big development if it happens. Also, you have prestigious seats like Silchar, again a BJP stronghold, also once a stronghold of the Congress. Remember, Shushmita Dev used to be the MP from there, but she's no more with the Congress, she's with Trinamool Congress, and Trinamool Congress is contesting in Silchar, where they have put up former AIUDF MP Radhesham Biswas against BJP's old RSS hand in Northeast, Assam Minister Parimal Sukravedya. So that's a key fight there in Silchar. However, along with Silchar, you have the adjacent seat Karimganj, which is a Muslim majority seat, and that is the only Muslim majority seat in Assam where BJP had won last time. This time there is a tough fight there, we are told. Apart from that, the outer Manipur seat, where a part of it had already polled in the first phase on April 19. Another part is polling tomorrow, and that area where the polling would take place in Manipur are mostly along the Myanmar border. So therefore, elaborate security arrangements have been made, given the fact that it comes in the backdrop of last year's ethnic violence. The Myanmar border has been sealed. Assam Rifles have been put on high alert. You have IF choppers which have airlifted polling teams and security personnel. So there BJP is not contesting. That seat is with NPF, the ally of BJP, but there is a straight fight with the Congress. NPF would like to hold on to this seat, and also there is the tribal reserve Tripura East seat, which was with the BJP. This time BJP has given ticket to a member of the royal family, Kriti Singh Debbarma, and one has to see whether BJP is able to hold on to these seats.
No,
So therefore, in
absolutely. So lots of key
BJP's
contests over
focus
there. Ratnadeep,
will
we
be
just
not
need to
only
go
to hold
from
on to
state to
these
state,
seats,
so
but
we'll
also
come
if they
back to
can
you
get the Muslim votes.
in a little while from now. But Gargi, go ahead.
Right, let's go across to Pratibha now, because that's going to be very interesting tomorrow. 14 seats in Karnataka, Pratibha, and in Bengaluru, all the seats around that area also going to the polls. Some big names, Tejaswi Surya. Also in Mysuru, you have the royal family, Sion, also there in the fray. So take us through some of the highlights.
In fact, all four constituencies of Bengaluru going to polls tomorrow, and that apart, yes, some of the majority of the 14 constituencies that you were already mentioning falls in the old Mysuru region. When it comes to the old Mysuru region, yes, the JDS exerts a lot of influence there, and this also happens to be the backyard of Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah. So, battle of sorts between the JDS as well as the Congress there. Of course, the BJP as well as the JDS trying to consolidate with their alliance the vote base of both Lingayats as well as Vokaligas. Also, this is going to be a make or break election for Kumarasamy, because he would be contesting from Mandya, and Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, the continuance of him as the Chief Minister would also reportedly hinge on the outcome of the Lok Sabha election here. Talking of Bengaluru South, a high profile contest there, we have Tejaswi Surya, firebrand leader of the BJP, who would be contesting against Soumya Reddy, who's the daughter of a sitting minister here, who also holds a lot of clout in the constituency. We also have Bengaluru Rural, which was the lone constituency, remember, in 2019 to have voted for the Congress when 25 of the 28 seats went to the BJP. And Congress veteran DK Suresh there, who's also the brother of Karnataka's Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivkumar, who would be contesting against Dr. C.N. Manjunath, who is the son-in-law of former PM H.D. Devegowda. So interesting contest there playing out. Also the political narrative initially that was revolving around Modi guarantees versus Congress guarantees. Remember, it was these guarantees that kind of steered the Congress to a sweeping victory in the recent assembly election here, and they're hoping to repeat that when it comes to the Lok Sabha election. The BJP in the meantime trying to repeat its performance of 2019 here by talking of PM Modi's relevance as well as charm that he exudes in a state like Karnataka.
Right.
Of course, the recent political narrative has also revolved around one of the recent murders that took place in North Karnataka. We'll have to see how all of these would play out, but the main issue is voter apathy when it comes to Bengaluru, and tomorrow Bengalurians are hoping that they would prove everyone wrong when it comes to the voter turnout. Back to you.
That's right. Let's
Let's
hope they
go
don't
across.
treat it like a long holiday or long weekend.
That is so important. There's so much to talk about that. But let me go across to Radhika, who joins us from Mumbai. 5 of the 8 seats are in the Vidarbha region. Now, this is an area which has seen intense agrarian distress in the past. Even now, the issue of farmer suicides is huge. 2,000 odd farmer suicides last year alone. Is that perhaps one of the biggest concerns? Agrarian distress for a plethora of reasons, which could be a factor in the areas voting tomorrow.
Certainly, that is one of the biggest concern. In fact, as far as the issues in these regions that are going to polls are concerned, yes, one is of course agrarian crisis, but also people speaking about unemployment, inflation, and several other infrastructure issues that people, especially in these rural areas, are facing. So as far as the polls tomorrow are concerned, it's about 8 seats that are going to polls, which include, as you mentioned, 5 Vidarbha seats and 3 Marathwada regions, all of them rural as well as semi-urban seats. Now, Maharashtra is going to be an interesting contest simply because of all the political churns that were witnessed over the last couple of years, be it collapse in government reformation, the splits that happened within Sena, NCP, and the confusion as a result among the minds of voters. So therefore, what way this election could go is something that is difficult to say this time, simply because of all the ideological and legal battle that Sena and NCP factions are fighting with each other, which is why, many of the seats in Maharashtra are still undecided. So there are, of course, 5 phases in Maharashtra, of which second phase voting tomorrow, 8 constituencies going to polls. As far as the other constituencies are concerned, especially Mumbai, there seems to be no sort of consensus on many of the seats simply because of the new rejigs and the realignments that have taken place. Now, to speak about the seats that are going to polls tomorrow, The three most important seats are Amravati, Akola, as well as Nanded. Now, if you speak about Amravati, it's Navneet Rana who hogged the limelight for the entire Hanuman Chalisa Rao. She's the incumbent MP. She was independent. However, now she's obviously joined the BJP. That has not gone down well within the Mahayuti. So there is internal tiff as a result of Navneet Rana candidature. So in Amravati, it's going to be a multi-pronged fight because the ones who were the small parties that was sort of supporting the BJP have decided to field candidate against Navneet Rana. So that's one. Akola, Prakash Ambedkar is going to be the candidate from Akola in VB. Of course, he'll be contesting both the Congress
Radhika,
against
lots
Congress
of
as well as the
constituencies,
BJP.
and thanks
Remember,
so much
Prakash
for going
Ambedkar
through those.
had been in talks
Again, I
with
just
the
need to quickly
MVA
move
to
from
join hands with MVA.
from a part of India to another part of India. I know there's so much to talk about, but
all right,
Gangi,
let's go to
ahead.
West Bengal now. 3 seats there. Saurabh going to the polls tomorrow, and Saurabh, of course, is going to be with us for all the phases. And Darjeeling is interesting to watch, a three-way contest there. And Belur is, one of the key fights that's taking place there with the BJP chief Shakunta Majumdar there facing off against Trinamool Congress's Biplab Mitra.
Well, Balurghat is clearly one of the most interesting seats given the fact that the state BJP president Shukanta Majumdar is of course contesting this election, and therefore that's something that obviously is key given that he's the state BJP president. But apart from that, there is also the seat of Darjeeling. Darjeeling is important again because Darjeeling is a constituency which is unique in the sense that demography wise and aspirations wise there are constituencies that are situated in the hills and there are constituencies that are situated in the plains. Tea gardens are an issue, the Gorkhaland sentiment is an issue, and also you have the demand of 11 Gorkha sub-communities to be included in the scheduled tribes list. So all of these things are important, and therefore this is something that obviously we will see play out in the we've seen play out in the election campaign as well. Apart from that, what we also know is that Raiganj is a seat going to polls, and Raiganj is interesting because the Congress has put up a candidate there who's popularly known as Victor, and of course there is this seat was previously held by Union Minister Debashri Chaudhary, but she's been moved to Kolkata. Her candidature is from Kolkata this time. The Trinamool has fielded Krishna Kalyani, who's a well-known, businessman there. So it's an interesting mix of candidates in this phase. But Shukanta Majumdar, of course, the state BJP president, his seat going to polls. I'm reporting from Balurghat right now. And also you have others like Raju Bista in Darjeeling, who won by the highest margin last time. So this time, though, there is a challenge. The many within the BJP believe that the margin may come down, but they will pull through. The Trinamool says this is a seat they can still try and win. So this is going to be a closely watched to contest three very important seats going to polls.
Well, let's go straight across to Manish Kumar, who joins us. Thanks, Manish, very much for being with us. What are the constituencies in Bihar going to polls tomorrow? What are some of the key contests?
See, Vishnu, tomorrow 5 constituencies are going to the polls, which includes Bhagalpur, where I am right now. Besides Bhagalpur, it is Purnia, Kishanganj, Katihar and Banka. And all the seats, barring one, Kishanganj, was won by NDA candidates. In fact, JDU in this round is contesting on all the 5 seats from NDA, and from opposition India Alliance, Congress is contesting on 3 seats, which includes Kishanganj. Kishanganj was the only seat which Congress won last time, and besides Kishanganj, their candidates are in the fray in Bhagalpur as well as in Katihar. Katihar is one of those very prestigious constituency from where veteran Congress candidate Tariq Anwar is seeking trying his luck for 7th time in a row. He's been he has represented this constituency since 1980. In fact, he lost several times also in between, but once again he is like a strong contender, and he is giving a tough challenge to Dulalchand Goswami of JDU. And besides Katihar, the Purnia, all important Purnia constituency, from where the independent candidate Pappu Yadav has made the battle really interesting. And there once again, Purnia is one of those few seats which JDU is winning for the 2 consecutive terms, and in fact they won that seat in 2014 also. So this time it seems that JDU candidate is somewhere heaving a sigh of relief because it's a triangular contest, and Pappu Yadav will ultimately hurting, official RJD candidate Bhima Bharti. And
Okay.
from Bhagalpur, once again, former Congress Legislative Party leader Ajit Sharma is challenging JDU sitting MP Ajay Mandal, and in all those seats, the Mahagathbandhan has somewhere tried to, reach out to the non-Yadav, candidates. They have fielded Ajit Sharma, who comes from the upper caste, and it will be really interesting to see how much upper caste, who is otherwise traditionally NDA voters, switch over to Mahagathbandhan candidates this time around. Vishnu.
All right, Manish, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Karthik.
Right, and Pappu Yadav, they're really complicating things for the India alliance there. But let's now go across to our analysts, and thank you all reporters for joining us there. We have with us in studio Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist. Also joining us Nirja Chaudhary, a senior journalist. Thank you so much for that. Nirja, first to you, this concern about the turnout is something that has been much talked about. The Election Commission has also spoken on it and had meetings regarding the weather and the heat wave, and the BJP seeming to be very, very concerned about this, some sort of voter apathy or overconfidence, and in Rajasthan especially, I think the team, the heads were spoken to, and to get more people on the ground to ensure the voters get to the polling booths.
Yes, absolutely, you're right. The voter turnout slump by several percentages in the first round of voting appears to have worried the BJP brass. And in the last 3-4 days, we've seen the Prime Minister shift gear in his narrative. It's back to Hindu-Muslim issues much more, whereas all over North India, having traveled through some of the paths, I found people this time saying the issue was not at all Hindu-Muslim. So whether the BJP is going back to its tried and tested methods, but what has really worried them is that Hindus, middle class, have been apathetic, and this is a report coming from, say, Western UP, that the Muslims in their booths have come out in very large numbers, whereas those areas where the BJP was supposed to have its following, those people didn't come out to vote as was expected. So naturally, the BJP would be worried, and they would do their utmost that in the next rounds of polling, people and their supporters do come out and vote.
Amitabh, I was going through a piece that you wrote, and I think it is a matter of huge concern for us in this country that only 38% of young voters chose to register themselves. And is it just for this phase, or is it across the election overall?
Overall.
No, that's shocking, and that affects the dynamics of the entire poll process.
Yeah, because essentially, politics and politicians is a dirty word amongst a large section of people in India. And what has happened is that there is no outreach to the youth, except for perhaps Modi Ki Pathshala, where he talks with the young students before the exams. So, and apart from that, even urban voters, the amount of participation of voters in governance is not there at all. So, people have seen multiple governments, let's say in Karnataka, BJP, Congress, JDS, everybody, in Tamil Nadu, DMK, AIDMK, everybody, but the basic issues of flooding, of lack of water is not being solved. So the people think that not only there is a lack of political will, but even perhaps capability, ability of the governments to solve problems. And that is why perhaps it is pushing people out of the political process, and that's a cause of concern, because Election Commission is doing awareness campaigns, influencers are doing,
TVS
channels are doing, NDTV is doing,
advertisement,
FM channel is doing,
for youngsters to really come out.
So 1.5–2% is the natural growth which should have happened. So on the back of that, there is a 4–4.5% decline, which means that decline is of the magnitude of 6 to 7%, which is huge.
Yeah. Nirja, as we look at the overall sort of election scenario, this entire issue of inheritance tax has been a bit of a bogey. We certainly had no idea that it would actually come up. The Prime Minister has jumped on it, And it just seems to be a replica of the Manishankar Iyer moment from several years back, when he made remarks against the Prime Minister. And this is an issue which has suddenly emerged when nobody was talking about inheritance tax. Could it be a possible factor as we go forward?
Look, the Prime Minister certainly seized on it, the inheritance tax, and remark made by Sam Pitroda, the Congress who's in charge of the Overseas Congress. And it has created a big controversy. The Congress is very much on the defensive, trying to explain. Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge has even written to the Prime Minister a 2-page letter saying, I'll be very happy to come and explain to you our Nyay Patra, what is in our manifesto and what we mean by it. But certainly, political parties will jump at each other's faux pas when they take place during the campaign. Now, the inheritance tax, of course, is a very clear faux pas made by Mr. Pitroda. But other things in the manifesto that the Prime Minister has talked about, that your wealth will be redistributed and women's Mangal Sutras will also be taken away. That, of course, the Congress says that nowhere in their manifesto has this been stated. So there is a war.
But you did have that statement by Rahul Gandhi where he spoke about, if we come to power, we will do a survey of, wealth and so while it's not in the manifesto, he did make that remark and, perhaps got carried away, and the BJP seized on it.
Yes,
so there's wealth distribution already, that was a controversy, and on top of it you have Sam Pitroda.
The back and forth, you and I have been discussing it for now 3-4 days, ever since this statement was made. So this has come center stage just before the second round of polling. Right. Unlike the first round where very different issues were there. And of course, first round was much more caste coming to the fore. When you went to constituencies, caste was a factor. And as I said earlier, Hindu-Muslim was not a factor. From what
I'd like to ask Amitabh about that. Do you agree with what Neerja is saying? One, of course, is the worry over the voter turnout and the BJP's concerns there, but this sort of shift in the campaigning and these sort of statements, the Hindu-Muslim aspect, what the opposition has even complained to the Election Commission about the Prime Minister's statement, and a notice has been given to the party president. So do you agree that there's this shift because the BJP is worried?
So essentially, the BJP's dilemma is to charge the core or to hold on to the neutral voter. So the first statement, the Hindu-Muslim statement, essentially came back from a feedback that there was a lack of enthusiasm amongst party cadre and leaders, perhaps because of complacency of Mission 400. But this redistribution of wealth, so who was rather disturbed by those statements was the neutral voter, the middle class voter. And this redistribution of wealth also impacts the middle class, because middle class has the wealth, the poor do not have the wealth. So the wealth will be taken from largely the rich, the upper middle and the middle to the poor. So this also is in a way trying to soothe the nerves of the neutral voter, the middle class or the urban voters who have been backing the BJP for the past 2 elections, because there was some sort of you can say dismay over Prime Minister's statements, but that if the party is doing so well, and if the Prime Minister is talking about outreach to Pasmanda Muslims, how Muslims have been beneficiaries 25 to 30% across all schemes, why is he making this sort of statement at this crucial juncture?
Right.
So I think these two things are interrelated, and the Congress has given BJP or the Prime Minister a leeway to go to move from that point to jump onto this point.
Neerja, let's turn our attention briefly to Maharashtra. How is this an election which is also about the heart and soul, the identity of two parties? There's the NCP obviously, and there's the Shiv Sena. How at the end of this entire election process will that perhaps be identified and established?
I think, Maharashtra is amongst the most interesting states going to the polls. And as you yourself mentioned, 8 seats are going to the hustings tomorrow, and where voting will take place. And Maharashtra is also the most confused state today. You cannot go by the past. This is what happened last time, and therefore extrapolate from that. This is where the swing might take place. Because since last time, major parties have split. The Uddhav Shiv Sena has split with the MLAs and the organization going to Eknath Shinde. NCP has split with Ajit Pawar taking a major chunk of the MLAs towards the BJP. And you know, the way the NCP is structured is a very MLA based party. Now, the sympathy it is set of the voter, the supporter, is with Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray. Now, there have been rallies held where observers feel that sympathy was evident. But without an organization, does sympathy add up to victory by itself?
Right.
All those things are major things happening. So you have, you know, and then of course this is Prakash Ambedkar's party. Prakash Ambedkar is also going to polls tomorrow. The election is going to take place there. Nanded, where Ashok Chavan, it's his area of hold.
Yes.
That also people say is a takkar. I'm a bit surprised, but that's the feedback coming in. So Maharashtra is very confused. So what
Right,
people
and
say
very interesting
it's
to
gonna
watch
be
it.
half and half.
It's the
That's a
first
bit of
election
take.
that's taking place in the state after the splitting of two parties and, you know, leaders leaving one party, joining another. Well, thank you so much both for joining us on the program today. And tomorrow, well, the second phase of elections, 88 seats across 12 states.